Hello, in this video we're going to go over a few parts of XYZ homework. We're going to create a test and then add some things to the timeline. So I have just a regular XYZ homework account here, a course for Math 80. So we assume that you're familiar with everything in XYZ homework. So first we're going to create a test or a quiz. The functionality here is a little bit more advanced than just online homework, so I'll be sure to show you all the steps. So first I'm going to go to Gradebook, and looks like we have a category for tests already. I'm just going to click on Settings here and make sure that our categories are set up. So we have a category here for homework, for quizzes, and for tests. You see we have the category weight set here. So this is going to be done at any time during the semester. Best to do it as soon as you can, and you can have your category weights match your syllabus. You can see you can also drop the lowest number of test scores, or lowest test score if you want. Keep the highest test scores, same with the quizzes. So everything here, if the items aren't here, you just add a new category. Once you type in what the category is, go ahead and save the changes. Okay? Now I'm going to click here to get back to my course page. And let's just take a look at the regular assignments. Okay, so a regular assignment here. So 1.1, I'm going to go over to the gear icon, and I'm going to choose questions. Here we see that we have 10 questions in this assignment. You can see the numbers here are how they correspond to the textbook. So Chapter 1, Section 1, questions 9 through 14. So these are all 10 questions in the current assignment. If we scroll down, we see the entire library of questions, so we can add additional questions to this assignment right here just by checking a few boxes. These look good. Then I'm going to choose Add Using Defaults. And now I have 13 questions in that assignment. I can mix these in any order I want. I'm going to choose Done. Okay. So those are how to manage the regular assignments, the regular online homework assignments. But we want to add a test or a quiz. So I'm going to come to the bottom of, I don't know if you've seen this, but let's go into Chapter 4. I'm going to open up Chapter 4, and I'm going to choose Add here, Assessment. So I'm going to add a new assessment. So I'm going to call this Chapter 4 Test. Call it whatever you want. Just going to copy and paste it here. You can format this if you'd like. Sometimes I like to give it a color. We won't get too fancy here. Nice red that you see everywhere. Like this. All right. So that's what the student's going to see. You can write the student a note here if you want something else. Here's where you're going to set the dates for this test. Let's have this test become available on the 24th at 10 a.m. and then they have to take it within a day, so the 25th at 10 p.m. or whatever you want. Okay? Probably don't want a test open for review mode. All right, so the settings here, let's talk about these a little bit. Display method, skip around is probably your best option. That is, students can work these problems in any order they want. It's going to be the most flexible for them, and it's going to be the easiest for you. So we recommend keeping display method at skip around if you're not sure. Feedback method, this is a little more complicated. We'll kind of go through some of the options here. Basically, these are in order of most restrictive to least restrictive, if you want to think of it like this. So the top one, no scores will be shown. Only the last attempt scores. The students don't know what their score is until the end of till the due date passes. And then let's see, this third one is a good one. This fourth one is a good one. Show score on each question at the end of the test. So it'll say questions 1 through 20, and it'll show the score, whether they got it right or wrong. The next one, a little bit better, a little bit more information for the student. It'll re-show the question, not just the question number, along with their score. So that's a good one. We like that. Default attempts, you should keep this at 1, most likely. Default penalty, we don't want to give them a penalty. We're going to show the answers after the due date in the gradebook, or never, probably. But but they can review them. So after the due date in the gradebook's a good one. Now, gradebook category, please don't forget this. We just talked about this in the gradebook. As we click this, we can see the list of categories that we were just looking at. We want this to be a test. So we're going to click test. Additional display items. This calendar icon, this is the pesky question mark that you'll see on the calendar sometimes. Let's rename this to something more applicable, in this case test 4. We don't want to shuffle the item order. We can make this hard to print if we want. Students can still print it. It's just in the browser. We probably don't want to check either of these boxes, the same random seed. This is what tells the system to give each student a different problem, which is the case with these unchecked. If you were to check these, students would all receive the same problem. You probably don't want that. You certainly don't want to check this box for a test. Time limit. So late passes, probably don't want to give them a late pass for a test. Time limit, you could give them a time limit here. Give them 60 minutes. If so, you're going to want to kick the students out after that time limit, or it won't really mean anything. You can also set a password here if you're given this exam in a lab situation and they have to give it or walk into the lab and have a proctor enter the password. You can do that here. Help and hints. So we want to turn off any video links. We don't want them watching videos during a test. We don't want them asking the instructor a question either. But you do want to keep these as the defaults. The equation helper, that's so they can enter the fractions, decimals, any more advanced math here. Grading and feedback, we want this to count in the gradebook. That's all going to be automatic. And group assessment, this is not a group assessment. Okay, so the first half of this was done. We've created the settings for this assessment. And now the only thing we need to do is choose the questions for Chapter 4 test. So we have two choices here. We can select from libraries. I don't recommend this. Much more easy to manage is this select from assessments. What this is going to do is bring up a list of all the assignments in this course. So that is, we're going to choose Chapter 4 questions. So these are now choosing questions from the Chapter 4 assignments they've already done. Because of the algorithmic nature of XYZ homework, we really aren't concerned they may have seen this question before, because the question is going to have different it's going to have a different answer, it's going to have different coefficients, it's going to be randomized. Now I'm going to choose these assessments. Now this brings up our list of all the questions the students have had for these homework assignments. Okay, so I'm going to go to that first one here. I'm going to click Preview. This brings up a new screen. Let's see if I can bring it in here. I don't want a vocab for a test question. Let's choose this for a test question, and now look what happened. I check this. It checks right here in the main course, and then it shows me that I have 132 questions left in this list. So now we can just check this Next and Previous button. Well, that's a good one. And we can go through and just choose questions here. I'm not going to drag you through that. That's probably not a good test question. Maybe that is. All right, so now I'm done. Only 5 questions. I'm going to close this window. All those check boxes I did are right here, all 5 of them. Let's pretend this is a good chapter test. I'm going to choose Add Selecting using Defaults. And this moves these 5 questions up here. Notice the slash through the worked example. Students won't be able to access the worked example in this question because we turned that off in that settings menu. Now I'm going to select Done. And I scroll down. Where did we enter this test? Here it is. It's our Chapter 4 test. And there it is. Students are going to be able to access this on the date here and the time. Chapter 4 test. And here's the 5 questions we selected. They get 1 attempt. They can do these questions in any order. There's no video links or ebook links. No buttons to ask the teacher a question about this question. But the Math Quill editor is still here, so they can still enter their answers as fractions radicals, that kind of thing. Okay? So that is our Chapter 4 test.